Getting the most of virtual connections. Thank you all for being here. It's great to participate with people from around the world that are part of the Thriving Now community. There's some faces that we haven't seen for a while, and it's so nice. I'm really delighted, especially at a time when so many of us are in our homes or far away. My co-host tonight is Cathy Vartuli from the Intimacy Dojo and Thriving Now. Hi, Cathy.
Oh, it's great to be here. It's great to see all your faces.
So we wanted to start off with a recognition that when we're on video or audio, whether it's a phone call or reading or whatever it is that we're using to connect to other people, that one of the things that can help make it more real is to include more of our senses. So one of the first invitations, and I want to say that whatever we suggest, even if it sounds like do this, you don't have to do this. It's an invitation always. So if you want to sit back and observe, if you want to participate, if you want to morph it a little bit, please feel free.
Yeah, take care.
So the first thing we'd like to invite you to do is to feel your body where it is, in your chair, wherever you happen to be right now. Just feel your body. Bring your presence up. A lot of times, like right now, I'm speaking to a little green dot on my MacBook Pro. Below that, I see a lot of faces, but in order to connect with you, I'm keeping eye contact with the camera. And when I'm doing that, if I also can feel my body, you may even be able to feel the difference in presence that I bring just by doing that. So let's take a moment, and if you'd like, you can close your eyes. And if you feel comfortable and you're in a quiet enough place to do this, unmute. And as you're feeling your body, let's take some breaths and turn up the noise a little bit, like on the exhale. Okay? So like,
Breathe the vagus nerve. Let your brain know you're safe.
your mic a little closer, Cathy. You're getting muted out.
Yeah. Is our hearts start. We start breathing together.
Okay.
So we're just all here together. So your body feel you're not alone.
Okay. Thank you all. I'm going to go ahead. I've just muted everyone so that in the quiet now, just again, feel your body and remember that we're a part of a circle. And I love for these meetings, even though you may turn it to gallery view and you might see a bunch of faces, or maybe you're just seeing me as the speaker right now on your Zoom phone, to imagine that we're in a circle. There's something about a circle that says, I'm here, I'm holding this space. This is the space that is connecting my part of the circle. I belong here. I'm present here. I'm choosing to be here for as long as I do. If I need to leave, the circle will adapt. But right now, your presence is appreciated and welcomed. And while we are hosts and facilitators, see if you can notice in that breathing and the intelligence that we have that we share something important right here, right now. Cathy?
Yeah. So if you noticed, when we were all breathing together, that's called co-regulation. So small babies, they think that sudden infant death syndrome is often caused because the baby doesn't know how to regulate its heart and its breathing yet. And if it's near a parent that has a strong heartbeat, good breath, it can co-regulate. And I really do believe that humans need some of that co-regulation, that syncing that we get when we're with a close friend all cuddled up, or our hearts will start beating together, our breath will go together. There's something very nourishing and alive in that. And when we're spending a lot of time alone, or we're just spending time with a few people that are maybe stressed out, it's harder to get that nourishment, that vitamin C, the vitamin of connection. It's harder to get that. So I really loved hearing us all breathe together. Like my stress level just went down. And if you can, see if you can notice what part of you tuned in to that co-regulation, that breathing together. What part of you, just see if you close your eyes, maybe if that helped. And this may feel awkward. It's like learning to tie a shoe. It's tuning into a part of our awareness that we take for granted. It's okay if this feels awkward. It's okay if it feels like I'll never get this, but just be curious. Like what part of me, what antennas, what energy of mine was tuning into these other people?
Mm-hmm.
And then if you can, invite it, like it was using our ears to tune into these to all of us, and our eyes. Let's invite it to use whatever other senses are around to notice that we have this circle, to just be more viscerally sensing, aware that we're in this circle of really amazing people that came together because we want to thrive more. We want to feel nourished and connected during this time. So if you can allow that antenna to be a little stronger, just invite. I often use the analogy, I learned it from Rick, is that energy follows intention. So if we have a certain awareness, sound is energy coming into our ear, sight is energy coming into our eyes. Whatever the antenna is that was picking up that I'm part of a tribe, I'm connected, I'm getting some of that co-regulation, let's just turn the volume up on that a little bit. Imagine that there's a radio dial, old-fashioned, I'm dating myself, but remember the car radios where you could kind of tune it in a little bit? You could up and down to, if you were driving away or driving faster, you could tune in a little bit, and then you could also tune up the volume a little bit. So here we have a circle of people that are loving, probably more grounded, more thoughtful than the people that are running around out in the world very scared. We have a circle. We can get a lot of vitamin C from just being here right now. And imagine that you can just tune in and dial it up, and you can turn the volume up and down on the people that are scared out in the world. I'm noticing a lot of noise around around my house, and I can kind of turn that down on that station, and I can turn up the station of us being here together. And take a nice slow deep breath all together. And just let yourself drop into that beautiful connection we have together of really loving, caring people that want to get more juice out of this.
So, building on what we're doing, I noticed, Linda, with your hand on your heart, if it's pleasing to you, if it's comfortable and something that you'd like to do, imagine that there are people around our circle that we're sharing that are connecting to their heart, that they know their heart matters, that in times like this, it's not just information. We're integrating a lot, that being together is a process of asking our heart to be open enough and supported enough to be in this space. And imagine, and maybe you know some of the people that are in the circle, maybe you don't, but perhaps you imagine that there's someone who's conspiring with you to keep your groups, whether it's a business group that you do on Zoom or a knitting group or a movement group or your buddy that you call or your spirit buddies, that there is someone next to you that's doing this too. And as part of bringing the senses in, you have sat next to someone that you liked before. Allow yourself to remember remember in your body what it's like to sit next to someone that you like, that you've got some ease with.
Maybe you touch shoulders every once in a while you're
Mm-hmm.
working.
And if you like the idea, imagine that you're just kind of nudging each other on the shoulder, like, hey, good to see you. And if you're welcome to play that with me. Um, if you want to imagine, I feel some shoulders. That's nice. Ah, and what we're making really vivid and conscious are the things that we can do even if somebody else isn't here with us, that isn't playing this game, that isn't exploring the way we're exploring.
Rick, when
Um,
I think I
right.
know my heart often right now, I think a lot of people are scared. So I'm usually able to get a lot of vitamin C from work. I'm an engineer, and from people around me, I'm able to get my nourishment really well. And right now, I feel like people are very scared. So there's less of that coming in. There's less of that common pulling to like my heart feels lonely right now a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering if like a guided meditation or some tapping would be good just to help people soothe their hearts.
Yeah. If that appeals to you, can we see a thumbs up? Those on video, a little tapping. If you're new to tapping, thank you. If you're new to tapping, thrivingnow.com/tapping, free guide that Cathy and I did. And Cathy, I would love it if you would lead some of that
Yeah.
right now, if you would.
All right. So I'm going to just start with a guided meditation, if that's okay. Because I think for a lot of us, this has been a very rough couple weeks, couple months where there's a lot of fear going on. And just calming that down can let us get more nourishment from this call and more awareness too. So if you're in a place that's safe to do so, you're welcome to close your eyes. If you want to put your hand on your heart, that can feel soothing as well. Nice, slow, deep breath. And just let yourself notice your heart. Rick did a beautiful podcast the other day on it. Just notice the beat of your heart. And even if it feels a little anxious or stressed, it's still beating. It loves you so much. It has beat every few seconds your entire life. And it will continue to do so until the day you die. It loves you so much and it is there for you every moment of the day. Just notice that it's saying, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you with each beat. It's sending nourishment and oxygen to every cell. And it's taking out old things that you don't need and just letting your body release them. Just for a moment, follow the blood as it goes through your veins. Just imagine as it goes down through your arms to your fingertips and down through your torso and your pelvis, down through your belly and your butt, your thighs and your knees, and your calves and your shins, all the way down to your toes, all those little tiny corpuscles bringing love and nourishment to every cell, and then returning back up with whoosh, 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 back to your heart, to your lungs, up your neck, all around your face and your brain, every brain cell getting nourished and loved. And sending stuff back to your heart, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And sometimes that heart can feel alone, but right now you're with it. You are loving it. And it is doing such a good job. And if you could just send a little love to your heart, just let it know that you really appreciate the fact that it loves you every moment of every day. And that you're not going to leave it alone. You're going to be here with it. And that you're here on this call to learn how to nourish it more. Because it may not be finding the co-regulation and connection that it normally does. The sense of being in common with other people and being close to others. But you're here to learn how to do that. And that the two, you and your heart can do this together to create more joy going forward, whether you're in shelter in place or not, where you can connect more deeply with yourself and with others. And just gently bring your awareness maybe to the hand on your heart, if that's where it is, and to your feet on the floor, to your butt on the seat. And if you want to gently open your eyes, still staying in connection with your heart, but just come back to here and now and take a nice, slow, deep breath with us. And you can stay here with us and stay connected with your heart. You don't have to separate. I think that my tendency, if I get around a lot of afraid people, is I tend to try to protect my heart by staying away from it. But I don't think our hearts are designed to be alone. I think they are designed to be in connection with other people and with ourselves. And we can stay in connection with our heart no matter what. It's part of us. So take another nice, slow, deep breath. What are you noticing, Rick?
Noticing I'd like to try a breakout room. Do you want to do that?
So
Okay.
one of the things we're talking about when we do these, we're going to give you more tips and tricks that we know work for people, but part of it is learning what works for you. And it's kind of like going to the ophthalmologist, like going to the eye doctor. Is this feel better or worse? Better or worse? And trying to figure out what works for your system and your needs. There are times when the noise gets really loud for me and I want to just go in my room with my cat and be alone. And there's days when I want to be on video with people. And there's days I need to walk around the outside. And so we're inviting you to tune in. Just notice how you feel right now. And we're going to do an experiment. We haven't done breakout rooms on these calls before, but we're going to do a breakout room with, I think it's 4 people, Rick, you said?
3 to 4 will be in each room. Some people that are on telephone and like using the web Zoom may stay in the main room with us. And we're just going to spend 4 minutes. So it's start with the person with the longest hair and just say your name, where you're from, if you'd like to share that, and something that's alive in your heart. When the time is done, you'll see a pop-up on your screen. It says return to the main meeting room. You're going to see a pop-up when I send us off to the breakout rooms. You'll just say go out to the breakout room. And you'll need to unmute. And this is an experiment. This is a way of taking a group of, we have 34 people here. You don't have to unmute. You don't have to share anything. You don't have to turn on your video. If you happen to be there and nobody else is participating, you can just be with your breath for a few minutes, go off to get something to drink, whatever is right for you. Okay,
And
so this is what?
one other thing I want to add, because I'm a shy person and I deal with a lot of shy people. The person with the longest hair is going to go first because it's visual. It's something you can see really quickly. But please be conscious and give everyone a chance to talk. And the person with the longest hair, when they're done talking, choose who goes next. Because shy people tend not to say, oh, me, I don't have time. They tend to deflect and defer. And if someone doesn't want to talk, like if people opt out, other people can fill in the space. But
Yeah,
let's just
exactly.
give everyone a chance.
Okay, so let me see if I'm going to do this right.
Yep. And notice how you're feeling right now, like around
Okay,
the group and everything.
I am going to breakout rooms close automatically after 4 minutes. Okay, let's try this, folks. And you may see a pop-up that's on your screen. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. And Frank, you're still here with me. If you'd like to unmute and introduce yourself, if you'd like. If not, um, no worries. Martha, thank you for joining us. We're in the middle of breakout rooms right now. So if you'd like to unmute and introduce yourself, feel free. The call is being recorded. We're going to be back here in about 3 minutes. And for those of you, hi. Hi, Martha.
You hear me?
I can. I'm Rick from Thriving Now. I'm in Asheville, North Carolina.
Nice to meet you. I saw you sometimes, but yeah, today I just saw the reunion. That's why I'm late, but it's nice to be here.
Mm-hmm. So we're sharing in our breakout rooms just something that's alive in our heart these days, just for a minute. Is there anything that you'd like to share? And you don't have to.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of motion going on. Yeah, I've been like, it's confusion because sometimes I'm enjoying this time with my closest people, but sometimes it's hard to think about all the future and the things that can and may happen. So yeah, it's I've been dealing with fear, with happiness, with love. I don't know. It's difficult. It's been interesting times. I don't know how to say that better.
I I felt you said it beautifully. Like you said, there's love and there's challenges. I have a 6-year-old I live with, and he's not in school. He's home with us all the time. And, you know, there's like routine that's missing. There's so much, and it's beautiful. And it's also, a challenge. So, and we've got some other people joining us. The breakout room's going to close here in just another minute. I invite us to take a breath together. And if you're watching the recording, feel free to energetically tune into what is alive in your heart these days, right now. And imagine sharing it for a moment with us. And I'm just going to hold space for everyone will be back here in about 15 seconds or so. And check in, make sure your body is grounded. And people will be heading back. Welcome, welcome. People are coming. And I did give them 30 seconds to come back. So we may see some people coming back over the next 30 seconds or so. Welcome, welcome. Yay, faces.
There. So fun.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fun.
Yay, David. Yeah, we'd love to. I know there's a way to do a poll, but we didn't set it up ahead of time. If people want to leave a message in chat letting us like thumbs up or do this more or never do this again, or I would have liked it if that, we'd love to hear. So, because this is the first time with us, but I really loved, my group was really fun. I loved getting to connect with them and learn to know them a little better.
Yeah, and Heather, I think I left an option for people to leave the room, the breakout room that they were in, and return to the main room. And I saw that you might have done that. We've got some. That was fun. So much gratitude for you guys. Yeah, thank you. And it's I. The first breakout rooms I did on Zoom were with Seth Godin. There was a group of 1,000 people, and we broke up into groups of 4. And it was really something to have that as an opportunity to connect. I mean, I believe the need for connection, emotional realness, being in our bodies together, even if we can't be in person, that the need for that is not just something that the pandemic is turning up the magnifier on, the amplifier on, that this is something that has been true for us for a long time. That's why we've been doing things like this for 14 years. And it's an idea that I want to see spread, that it is possible to bring a kind of presence to each other when we're in each other's ear, when we're seeing someone. If we were sitting in rows of seats right now, if you can, turn on the gallery view, and if you feel up to it, turn on your video. You don't have to, but if you feel up to it.
Right. If you go to the upper right, just to the right of the pictures you see,
Mm-hmm.
There's a little, it shows 3 boxes, 3 by 3, and you can see gallery view.
Right. And there's even a couple of screens. You can see names of people. Some of those names you may recognize. You may know someone named Frank, even if it's not this Frank. And it reminds you that you're connected. I see someone, that I've never seen before. Hi. It's an opportunity. And if we were sitting in a normal workshop, we'd probably be sitting in rows, and you can't see each other's faces. And so sometimes when I'm on a meeting, I will turn on this view just to see other human beings paying attention or not paying attention. They're 2 people that are there together, and that makes me happy. And it's an opportunity for us to see each other more. That's why I like the circle too, is that in a circle, if it's a circle, you can see everyone. You can look around. There's no one you're looking at their back or their bald spot.
Well, because I sometimes feel, I live alone. I have a cat who's very spoiled, but I'm not seeing another human during the day most of the time, but just seeing all these beautiful faces and knowing that we all have common interests. Like, we care about people doing well and feeling loved and getting through this with as much, I'm really hoping that we can learn a lot from this and we come through the other side and we actually are like, wow, that was really horrible. The silver lining was really great. We learned so much about how people can connect and how we can connect more deeply, because all of us are going to have times when we can't be around other people as much as we'd like to, or we may not have as many people that we're really feeling. I know there's some people that just light up my life, like Rick, and we don't get together very often because we live on opposite sides of the country, and we're going to be sharing some of the things that we've learned as we go. Like, how do we learn how to connect with each other and keep, we have a very deep friendship, but we see each other maybe three times a year. We talk every day, but there's not the face-to-face. So we're going to share some of the things that we found help keep the connection really juicy and delightful.
Hold on just a second. I'm going to mute everyone and unmute you. Okay. As Cathy said, Cathy and I have, we started our relationship in each other's ear.
We didn't even have video back then.
I had no idea what she looked like. She had no idea what I looked like unless she had seen my picture somewhere online. And I've done that many, many times in my life. And so as we share things, try them on and see how they mutate for you. And by that, I mean, if it's an idea that's right for you, it may not be like exactly the way Rick does it
Yeah.
or anyone else does it, but it'll go through your integrator and shift a bit.
Yeah.
So for example, when I was getting to know Cathy, I would often close my eyes and just imagine that she was sitting there close enough that her words and her energy and her emotions and what was alive in her was right there with me. And sometimes if that was a struggle, I would open my eyes and just imagine that she was there on the sofa or in the chair across the way. We've spent time with people talking on sofas across tables. There's a deep memory, thousands and thousands of memories of us being present with people in person. In the virtual, in the place where we're not just around the fire in a circle, what do we do to have more of that experience? For me, it does take some intention because I know that if I'm just listening and I'm not bringing my presence up, I'll lose you. I'll lose you even if it really matters to be with you. So right now I'm going back to the feeling of a circle. I'm taking a breath. I'm putting because I've been talking to this green dot a little bit.
That's Rick and I both have been doing a lot of the getting real work. And one of the things they talk about in that is, can you be present with yourself and with other people? And I think that the dual awareness, the awareness of I'm here with this green dot and I'm here with the circle. It's awkward at first, just like tying our shoe, just like being aware of the synchronicity with other people when we're not hearing them or they're not in our presence. I think so much of it is subconscious. But if we start building that muscle, I've used this analogy a lot, but about 4 years ago, I almost died. I came home from the hospital after 21 days in ICU, and I could barely walk to the front door. And I'd been doing 50-pound kettlebells before I went in the hospital, and I came home and I couldn't lift the 2-pound weight by myself. My trainer had to help me lift it. And that dull, achy, like this is impossible feeling, I just was like, I wanted to give up. I'm like, I should have died in the hospital because it was so hard. Like literally I'm having someone help me lift a 2-pound weight, and human brains think it's always going to be this hard. That's a natural thing. Human brains do this all the time. It's always going to be this hard. But I kept doing it even though it felt so awful. I stayed with that feeling of this is horrible. Ugh, I don't want to do this. Trying to do it felt so uncomfortable. But every time I tried, I was building up a little more muscle. I was getting better at it. By the end of the week, the next week I started on the 5-pound weight by myself. And I got back to the 50-pound kettlebells. But that process, I think humans in general, we feel that feeling that like this is too hard or I can't do this. It's always going to be this hard. And we run.
Lead us in some tapping on that.
Yeah.
If you know tapping and you'd like to try and follow with us, everyone's muted so that I'll be the echo for Cathy, but you can echo and speak it aloud or not. Up to you.
Change the words if you like. So take a nice deep breath. Feel your butt in the seat. Karate chop. This feels too hard.
This feels too hard.
It's always going to feel this hard.
It's always going to feel this hard.
That horrible feeling.
This horrible feeling. This isn't what I want.
I just want to run away.
I just want to run away.
I never want to feel this again.
I never want to feel this again.
It reminds me of too many times when I failed.
It reminds me of too many times when I failed.
But what about the times I succeeded?
But what about the times I succeeded?
Top of the head, when I first tried to tie my shoes.
On the first time I tried to tie my shoes. Oh, I remember.
I felt, oh, that feeling was there.
That feeling was there.
Side of the eye, and probably when I was trying to learn to walk.
Probably when I was trying to learn to walk.
Under the eye, that feeling.
That feeling.
Under the nose, I'm really glad I kept trying.
I'm really glad I kept trying.
Shit, it would really suck to have to crawl around everywhere.
It would really suck to crawl around everywhere.
Collarbone, but I have that feeling about some things right now.
I have that feeling about a lot of things right now.
Under the arm, it feels like it's never going to get any better.
Feels like it's never going to get any better.
Top of the head, and I don't want to be stuck here.
And I don't want to be stuck here.
Eyebrow, that feeling.
That feeling.
Side of the eye, I interpret it to mean something is wrong.
A part of me interprets it that something's wrong.
Under the eye, or I'm not good at something.
Or I'm not good at something.
Under the nose, what if it just means I'm trying something new?
What if it means I'm trying something new?
And what if that feeling is just a sign of courage?
What if that feeling is just a sign of courage?
Collarbone, a sign of progress.
Sign of what?
Work in progress.
Yeah, I might be a work in progress.
Did I skip a spot? Sorry. Collarbone, I'm going to try to reinterpret that feeling.
I am going to try to reinterpret that feeling.
Under the arm and realize that I'm building some really good courage right now.
And realize I'm building some really good courage right now.
Top of the head, and it won't always be this hard.
And it won't always be this hard.
It's going to get a lot easier.
A lot easier.
Nice deep breath. And I honestly think that, like, when we work through that feeling, like, I'm really trying to, when I notice it, I try to walk towards it. We have a friend, Mahako, who talks about walking towards the gun. If in martial arts, but like, when I feel that feeling, if I can remember, if I can head towards it, it means that I'm heading towards something I really want, but may feel too difficult right now.
Mm-hmm.
And again, the human brain, just like if we're at the bottom of the roller coaster, even though the roller coaster is going to go all over the place, whenever we're at the bottom, we're always like, oh, it will always be this bad. That's just, I have not met any humans that don't do that. So, but it's not true. It's just a thought we have. So when I can notice that feeling and kind of go, oh, what am I learning? What am I struggling with? Can I be gentle and compassionate with myself? So us learning to be virtual with each other and get a lot of juice may have that feeling come up. And it doesn't mean anything's wrong. We're just building new skills and new neurons.
So thank you very much. The chat is open if you have reactions, questions, anything like that. And I want to remind us about our senses. So sometimes, like, the little tiny square is not actually doing it for my visual cortex. It's actually, if I close my eyes and imagine being here and co-creating this with Cathy, if I close my eyes and visually imagine the circle, I actually feel it feels more real. And that's the idea here, is for you to find the ways for you to feel the realness of what we're doing, what you're going to be doing tomorrow. My daughter called me all of a sudden. I was in front of the computer. It wasn't FaceTime. I picked up the phone. I had called her the other day. She didn't get back to me. And at first, the chat was just chat. We were talking, and we were kind of connecting over the stress frequency. So, like, this is stressful. She might have to spend an extra year doing her PhD if the experiments she's doing right now don't go through. Dad's responsiveness to her stress, and she's pretty chill. I mean, it's not like she's freaking out.
That's a lot.
but it's on the stress frequency. Now here's what I did as I parse it. I realized I'm going just to the stress frequency. We have a lot more bonds between us than just the stress frequency. So went to my heart.
Uh-huh.
I felt the ways that I have held her in my heart and literally held her to my heart. She's 25 now. I remembered the smell of her. And, you know, we all have a smell. If you know someone well enough to know what they smell like and you like it, remembering that brings you closer. It's like really, literally, now I'm in smelling distance and she's in Chicago. I'm in North Carolina. It's a big geographic distance. And now suddenly she's close. And now her voice in my ear reflects the closeness that we have. And now I start adding like the presence and the confidence channels, right? Like I trust this being. I love this being. I am curious about her. Now we've got all of these multiple frequencies going back and forth. And because I'm blessed, my daughter's really tapped in and tuned in around those types of things, I could feel us vibing in a different way. My mother's less tuned in. So like I start with the worry channel because that's where she transmits most of her information. And so when I talk to her, I tuned into my mother is an explorer, a worker bee. You know, she's always has projects. She's doing things. And it was interesting that by tuning to that, I could feel some of that alive in me and my DNA. And it helped me do more work, honestly, by tapping into that channel. So our senses, physical touch, imagining, like Cathy and I will imagine rubbing each other's back when we need it, or even asking for it. If you have someone in your life that you can't be physically with, what if you got on the phone and just took a moment? And here's an invitation. If there's someone you know that if they were with you, and I'm one of them, that would, if you asked, would you rub my shoulders, would say, I'd love to. Take a moment and relax a little bit more in your chair and just see if you can feel their hands on your shoulder. We'll just be with that. You're welcome to breathe and sigh and moan if you like. Maybe let the stress in your jaw stretch a little bit. Maybe let your body move a bit in the chair as if someone's physically rubbing you. Energetics, feel the energy flowing into you. Imagine them taking some of the excess responsibility and, wiping it off. Maybe running their hands down your arms. And you can do this too for yourself if that feels good to you. And then maybe pat their hand and feel the gratitude. And I have done this with my cats, that have been in my life. Like if I need a horseback ride, there is no opportunity right now for me to go for a horseback ride. But I have ridden horses enough that I can be in, like an Olympic athlete, when they're in a visualization, they're in it, they're feeling even though they're not flailing around or necessarily, being in the canter of it, you allow yourself to feel and move as much as you want. But that, in the same way that if we're facing a problem at work, letting yourself remember being at a table or together with someone where you're going after a challenge that matters, something that matters to you, that it was pleasing and alive to be in it, because that is not going to feel the same over Zoom or Skype or Slack or wherever you're doing that. But it is available more than we've been trained. This is part of like us revealing, this is what we've been doing for a long time. And I know that we're not alone in making a connection that's virtual more real. I'm drawn to put us back into the breakout rooms for another few minutes to see if you could share amongst each other some ways that you either have heard or imagine or change. Does that feel good to you, Cathy?
I'd love to, and then I want to come back and give them some other things they can do to help anchor some of the connection.
Great.
So, yeah.
So that's what we'll do. I'm going to recreate the rooms.
Same room, same people, or different?
Nope, they should be different rooms. And let's go. All right. And while people are in their breakout room, thank you if you're looking at this recording. I know that it's hard to live on your own, or to be alone, or to be too much around other people and getting too much of one dose of persons and personalities, and not getting doses of other types of people. I've worked out of my home for much of my life. In my meditation, if I feel like I need to be around someone, I will invite them into that energy space. If I feel like I'm missing someone and they're not available, maybe I'm not sleeping at 3:00 in the morning. Sometimes spirit wakes me up in the middle of the night. For what? But there's an opportunity for us to do this and be with this. I have held hands with people that I know are suffering. When Cathy was mentioning about being in the hospital, I spent a lot of time by her side with her in an energy space, even while she was in a coma. Just for me personally, that helped me navigate a world where, my best friend's life was at risk. And we have people in the world right now whose lives may be at risk, are at risk, lives that are ending. How do we be with that? It's a profound question. I don't have the answer, but I do know that having been through that being present with the heart that we know, the heart that we love, making it as real as we can in energy space, in virtual space, over FaceTime, taking a pause, a moment to allow their presence to sink in. We're used to, on the telephone, often like back and forth. Giving a pause. And people will be back in the next minute or so. I invite you to, again, connect to your heart. And during times when you're wanting to make the virtual more real, feeling your heartbeat. Like sometimes I need to start up on my throat and feel my pulse. And once I feel it there, I can feel it in my chest. There's a quality of being listened to that comes from that. Your heart matters. Okay. So people will be coming back and joining us now in a few seconds. There's There's about a 30-second timer that they're seeing. It's great to be here.
Thank you for bringing it.
Mm-hmm. If there's something as we come back together, almost everyone's back. If that was good for you, I'd love to see a thumbs up or a a lot of thumbs up. Thank you. Double thumbs up. Alice, way to go. I love your enthusiasm.
It was fun.
We had amazing experience of somebody in our group, and we invited her to share with you. Lynne, I think Lynne is your name. Would you please come and share?
Unmute yourself.
I wanted to say that I recognized Helena from doing laughter yoga. And years ago, I bought her whole series and I have it in my archives. But also when Cathy spoke earlier about that feeling.
Yeah.
Maybe she made a quick gesture with her hand, but the gesture suggested to my imagination a large orca diving and surfacing. And I adopted it to remind myself that I may dive, but I'm going to surface. And that's a memory I'm taking away for my imagination. I think imagination has a lot to do with restoring a sense of connection.
Yeah.
It is connection, is it not? Imagination is connection.
Yeah. Our brains don't actually know the difference between what we imagine and what actually happens. And I think that's how people on deserted islands or, in solitary confinement, which I sometimes I'm in solitary confinement with a nice TV, a hot tub, Skype, like I don't have it so bad compared to a lot of people, but it's still I think those people that survived that must have had a very good imagination and a lot of resilience. And that would have been really hard. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. Thank you, Helena.
And thanks, Bernie, for suggesting. I think they did seem to go fast, the breakouts. So a couple of things that I found also, Rick and I will do. Oh,
just a second. Just make sure that everyone's muted and go.
Okay. So some other things that we've found that work really well. So sometimes one Christmas we couldn't get together. I just changed jobs. Rick and I had planned to get together for Christmas. We did some interesting things that I found really useful, and I've done a few things also. One, common shared experiences help. So Rick and I will pick a movie we both want to see, and we'll put Skype there, and we'll put it on mute so that we're not hearing the echo of it. But we go 1, 2, 3, and we start it together. And we can unmute ourselves, we're muted with each other, but we haven't turned off the sound. So if I want to unmute and go, oh my God, did you see that? What's going to happen? Or I need a pee break or whatever, it's there. But we have that it's shared in time. We're literally counting down. So we're having the reactions at the same time as close as we can. Is really delightful. Or sharing a meal together. We've done that a lot. Food is very, very grounding and community building because our brains evolved at a time when you did not eat with someone you didn't trust. Sharing food was a very sacred thing. So sharing a meal together, especially if there's an extra bonus points if it's common food, something we're both eating crackers, we're both eating cookies, or we're both having a veggie burger together or whatever for Helena. It can be that common shared thing. But even if it's just food together is really sweet, or a coffee together or tea together. I've also found that lighting a candle, if we both have similar candles and we're both lighting it, it seems to help my brain or my system feel in sync with that other person. So bringing the senses in here and the senses in there and doing it in the same time, that synchronicity, I think, is very healing to our hearts. The commonality, that we're sharing experience. I think humans need to have shared experiences to feel really connected sometimes. So those are listening. Last night I went to a virtual concert and we're all on Zoom and we just muted ourselves, like, so we weren't but we could turn it off. We could unmute and say, oh my God, that was fabulous, or thanks so much, or whatever, or oh, I just fell off the bed, or whatever, like someone was jumping and fell off the bed. He was jumping to the music. But doing some things like that can really bring some juice to this time when a lot of us are feeling very isolated. So looking for concerts and other things that people are doing calls like this. I love that Bernie is saying virtual cocktail hours with friends. That's great. Co-working time, like Rick and I do this. I have other friends I do this with. We get on Skype, we kind of chat for a few minutes. We each mute, we do our own work. We unmute if we have a problem or we need, to kind of chat with someone, but there's that sense of us working together. And one thing that Rick you're doing something special with the circle. Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to wait until it's?
I'll wait till I'm working through the technology part. That's what we'll be doing. Some on our co-working. You'll be doing your stuff and I'll be working on that. Hit some technical problems.
One of the things that I'll be doing during our co-working time too is Rick and I decided to throw a virtual cuddle party this Friday. So if you've ever wondered what a cuddle party was like, or were scared and didn't want to join, if you want to do one virtually, we're gonna have a virtual cuddle party on Friday night. It's donation based. You can come whether you can or want to or don't want to contribute. You can invite friends, and we're going to take people through it. And we're going to do some of these breakout groups where people can get to connect with each other. We're going to invite people to bring their PJs or cuddle clothes and like have some nice snacks and get all cozy up and be on Zoom with us, so that we can have a chance to connect. So if you've ever wondered what a cuddle party was and wanted to experience, this is a really safe time to do it, because you can just say, oh, I lost internet connection. Bye.
It's a boundaries workshop and then connection too. And so it's really useful. The first part of it is a wonderful experience that we go through all together. Yeah, in the Thriving Now Circle, thrivingnow.com/circle, I've made the first month membership. It's gliding scale. The first month is free. The page doesn't reflect that yet, but it will, and we're going to do some other things. We're having a lot of circle calls during this time period, which is what I want to be doing. And I want to thank you all for being here. We like to finish on time. We so appreciate your willingness to explore this. It doesn't take everyone in a circle to hold this space. If one person takes a pause, if one person is aware that, oh, there's a lot of dysregulation happening here, I'm going to regulate myself and start radiating and sharing that with the people that are there. You might notice that one person starts to tune to you, or you feel it, even if you don't know who they are. Like right now, I can feel people now and even in the future regulating with us what we've done together, who we are, what we stand for. People like us do things like that. Even if we weren't trained, I had to learn these things and practice them, and it's such a juicy life, even in times like this. Because if you can do it here with people, when you do get together, you bring all of that and the physical presence together. It changes the way that you see and relate to people. When there's social distancing, which one of our friends Z calls spacious solidarity, an idea worth spreading. We went out on a walk, and on the walk, people were walking by, and I noticed, because I hadn't seen people other than my family in person, that I was noticing them. I was noticing everyone in the group, the kids, the loud ones, the quiet ones, the ones that were happy to be there climbing and being outside, and the ones that were a little tired. And I'd like that to continue as we go forward. And I appreciate that each of you spending this time together. You'll take from it what is right for you. Cathy and I are at support@thrivingnow.com. That's an email address that comes to both of us. So if there's an insight, an aha, a question, a ooh, ah, can we do it differently? Whatever it is, we welcome your engagement. So,
Yeah.
Cathy,
I
final.
want to just thank everyone for, I imagine that it takes a lot of courage to show up and look at this more deeply. A lot of people are diving into TV or food or alcohol or just kind of numbing out or just going into the panic. And I just want to admire your courage and your willingness to explore at a time when a lot of people don't have the resources to do that. You really rock. You are the people that I get out of bed in the morning for. You are the people that I want in my world. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That.
Okay. If you'd like to, we can go to gallery view and kind of wave goodbye to each other if you'd like.
I can hear everyone.
Thank you.
Do that.
Big love. All right. Bye, everyone.